5 News at 10 starts now.
We're not a corporation. We're just a mom and pop trying to make something happen for this community.
Rapid growth bringing new businesses to Northwest Arkansas, but also new challenges. In Centerton, a couple fought delays and rising costs to open the town's first laundromat.
It was one of the only homes that you could stop if you were a person of color between Little Rock and Fort Smith.
One Russellville High School senior uncovered a forgotten piece of Jim Crow era history. The home that once offered safety, now finally recognized. And as you get prepared for Santa Claus and the in-laws to come into town, we're giving you some health tips for staying on top of your mental health and your sleep schedule through the rest of the holiday season. Thank you for joining us for your 5 News at 10. I'm Morgan Wrigley. Darren and Scott are off tonight. It's almost here. We're less than 2 hours now away from Christmas Eve. But as Joshua is here to tell us, if you asked Santa for no winter temperatures, definitely got your wish.
Oh, definitely. And I have some bad news for anyone who was hoping for a sweater or a cool hoodie or anything like that for Christmas. Not going to be able to watch. Not going to be able to wear those because it's going to be terrible out there in terms of those temperatures. Here's a look at what we got. We got 56 out there right now, and it's not terrible, completely. We'll take it as a win. It's the evening, 10 o'clock at night. You're able to go out there, enjoy lights of the Ozarks, some of these other Christmas activities, and not be freezing. That's the win. We're in the 50s right now. And then by the time we get into the River Valley, it's in the 60s. So it's nice and warm out there, to say the least. In fact, this afternoon was actually pretty warm, and we'll get to that here in just a second. But it feels pretty good out there for evening activities out there. And by the afternoon, feeling pretty good. We were in the 80s. And in Fort Smith, 81 to be exact, beating the record from 1889. 70 in Fayetteville is the previous record, and we beat that. 74 degrees. Right now, winds are calm out of the south, and that southerly wind is going to lead to those warmer temperatures. We have the full look at that Christmas Day forecast coming up because it's not only going to be warm, it's going to be warm both in the mornings and in the afternoons. We may be breaking 2 different records. Those details coming up.
Thank you, Joshua. A new study says people are packing up and moving to the natural state. According to Atlas Van Line's annual migration pattern study, Arkansas led the nation with a 68% inbound move rate. And if you've been around Northwest Arkansas enough, it doesn't come as a surprise where most of the movers are ending up. The study shows many in 2025 headed straight to Bentonville. The city's mayor says it's a combination of factors that make the city appealing to out-of-town or out-of-state home buyers.
We think that Bentonville offers some key economic drivers. So we have jobs here in the city. We have an initiative to have parks equally distributed through we have that initiative for connectivity through that. But also from a safety standpoint, we work with our police and fire to make sure we have a safe environment, also a clean city.
Data from the State Department of Finance and Administration shows Texas tops the list of states for inbound license transfers, followed by Missouri, California, Florida, and Oklahoma. And growth in Northwest Arkansas is bringing new homes and new businesses. It's also putting new pressure on infrastructure. In Centerton, a couple opened the town's first laundromat, but they say the process was long and uncertain, and they're still dealing with the unexpected costs. 5 News reporter Bo Russell tells us about Brian and Jane Bennett, who, despite the odds and the hurdles, were able to bring a vital resource to the community.
Growth is often accompanied with growing pains, something Brian and Jane Bennett are all too familiar with.
We're not a corporation. We're just a mom and pop trying to make something happen for this community.
Northwest Arkansas is growing rapidly, and with fast growth comes an urgent need to expand. In Centerton, that expressed itself as a need for a laundromat.
Everybody was super excited. They were all like, we're desperately needing this. We've been screaming and needing this.
Brian and Jane are proud to be the first business in the area offering the service.
Yeah, it's the only laundromat here in town. The closest one is in Bentonville, which I thought was shocking considering how big the community is growing.
But the couple says they were met with skepticism when they first started their project.
Good luck. It's going to be really difficult putting one in.
Brian and Jane say an outpour of community support helped push them ahead with their plans.
We have so much involved in this and so much of a community already support. It's been overwhelming.
However, they quickly learned that there would be roadblocks on their own path to growth.
We got the lease in June of 2024. In January, mid-January, got the permit. And then March, we were advised that we needed firewalls.
And then, when timing couldn't have been worse,
Just a week before we were getting married, we were given an invoice for a manhole, which cost $57,000.
out back you can see it, along with an entire new gas system that had to be installed just for their laundromat.
And this is where we had to dig the manhole down and obviously carve all of this out to do it.
But the couple says when opening day finally came earlier this month,
when you saw all this equipment in here, it was a church before, now it's a full-on laundromat, brand new equipment. What does it feel like looking around?
Are you
Just
kidding? We
thinking
stood
about
in
a
the
year
door
and a
with,
half.
when they first showed
Yeah.
up, we stood in the door with tears in our eyes. We couldn't believe it was really coming about.
I mean, there's moments I sit over there and I'm just like, wow. I mean, we did it. I mean, it took resiliency to the max. I mean, people probably would have said, you know what? We're out. Like, this is not going anywhere. But we said, we're going to just keep going.
all the growing pains were worth it. Now, even with an unexpected $57,000 expense to cover, the Bennetts say they're doing everything they can so that their service can ease the growing pains of their community.
We have made the absolute decision, regardless of what happens, we're not going to change.
In Centerton, I'm Bo Russell, 5 News.
At the state capitol, Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders has signed an executive order releasing more state money to help Arkansans recover from severe storms, tornadoes, and flooding that happened this year. $100,000 will be authorized to use from the Disaster Response and Recovery Fund that will be distributed by the Division of Emergency Management to cities that need more funding for recovery costs. Almost every state attorney general nationwide has joined a settlement against car maker Mercedes-Benz that includes Arkansas AG Tim Griffin. Mercedes-Benz has agreed to settle accusations the company secretly installed devices in hundreds of thousands of vehicles to pass emission tests. So for Arkansans with diesel Mercedes vehicles, the settlement says the company must extend warranties and pay owners $2,000 while fixing the car at no cost. A little over 700 cars were affected in the state. The agreement is still subject to court approval. Well, in Russellville, a high school senior is taking initiative to make sure history is not forgotten. Carter Thweet tells us about a home that served as a safe haven for so many and how it's being remembered.
In Jim Crow-era Russellville, African Americans driving for work or for pleasure couldn't just stop anywhere.
Just picture you not being able to stop at a local McDonald's or a gas station and get a drink of water or a Holiday Inn and rest.
But there were a couple of safe spots listed in what was known as a green book. In Russellville, there were two. One of them is the historic Lattimore home, which Randy Hendricks is president of.
It was one of the only homes that you could stop if you were a person of color between Little Rock and Fort Smith.
But the other is listed as the M. Jackson Tourist Home, and for a while, nobody really knew much about it or where it had been, until Russellville High School senior Ian Warnick started doing some research.
I decided when I heard that there's the second site that we didn't really know anything about, I'd get involved in helping with that.
Through navigating census and property records, Warnick was able to identify this spot as the former M. Jackson home. He took his presentation to the Russellville City Council.
And talked to them about what I found and talked about getting a plaque here. And I did, and through some fundraising efforts, they approved the placement of it, and we bought it.
At an unveiling ceremony 3 weeks ago, the plaque was revealed with a temporary base that'll soon be replaced by a more permanent concrete one.
This represented a place that was very involved in helping with the safety of the people during such an unsafe time.
We're so grateful that we had a young man like him step up and bring us this history and preserve it.
That was Carter Thweet reporting. The new plaque can be seen at 303 South Houston Place in Russellville, with the historic Lattimore home located just a few blocks south. Well, Santa is coming to town tomorrow. We want to take some time tonight to give you some tips on how to manage your health effectively through the holidays. First, what can you do as stress and anxiety increase this week? Mercy Health psychiatrist Venkata Delai says to keep expectations low, set realistic goals for making this a good time for you and your family. He also says to do everything in moderation in order to help limit the effects of holiday burnout.
This is a season where you have fun and you meet people, and there is a possibility that you may drink socially a little bit more. And alcohol has an impact on your depression, anxiety, and alcohol has an impact on your sleep cycle too. So that could interrupt your overall like a normal cycle of the day.
So then comes the question, how can you best manage your sleep cycle? Dr. Merritt Turner of Baptist Health gave us these best strategies for keeping a good routine. First, set a goal of 8 hours of total rest. Second, this one you've probably heard many times, stay off screens an hour before you get into bed. And lastly, drinking alcohol does not put you to sleep faster. It actually disrupts your sleeping rhythms.
But I know that it's hard, especially whenever we have traditions of watching Christmas movies late at night and things like that. But I think once things settle down after the holidays, trying to get back into those good routines and good habits is important.
Dr. Turner says the most common symptoms for disruptive sleep schedules during the holidays are headaches, lack of concentration, maybe some seasonal depression. Still